It was love at first sight. We met in a parking lot in Friendly's in his area of Connecticut, and when we got there, I pulled up next to his car, and he popped out of his car, and I was like, wow, and it was instant. We've traveled around the world, and not just because I've lived overseas, but we've also traveled before that. We've been to all continents except for Antarctica, and we can't really do that anymore. It's just not the thing to get on a plane, and it's very disruptive, it's very upsetting, and so we've sort of edited that out. Jordan's diagnosis was a shock and very difficult. Even though we expected that it could be a possibility, there's one thing to think of something as possible, there's another thing to be confronted with it as a reality.
The first thing I would say to somebody who has just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease is that they should not go it alone. The healthiest people with Alzheimer's disease and the happiest people with Alzheimer's disease are those who learn about the disease process so that they can take control of elements of their life. They also should be seeking education and support to know that they are not isolated through this process.
Our whole Alzheimer's journey started when one day I came home from work and I went into the refrigerator to get something to drink, and I found that there were some socks rolled up in the refrigerator, tucked onto the side of the door. And so I said to Jordan, there are some socks in the refrigerator. What are these socks doing in the refrigerator? And he said, I don't know. Once the socks were in the refrigerator, the process was something that we didn't delay. We immediately just started down the road to diagnosis.
We can help you to think about next steps, to give you education, information, to help you plan for the future. So going it alone is something that you don't have to do. We would like to be a part of the journey.
The natural human instinct is to kind of try to put on the brakes and hold off and say that, we're going to deal with this, but life isn't going to change. Well, the reality is you are going to deal with it, and life is totally going to change in all sorts of ways, and you can't stop that.
Research is very important to the Alzheimer's Association. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most passionate parts of our mission because we are in this to bring an end to Alzheimer's disease. Families are looking for answers. We need to better understand treatment options. We need to better understand the causes of Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. And ultimately, we need to cure Alzheimer's disease.
I think the Alzheimer's Association, if it didn't exist, we would have no hope. And because they're there, because they're advocating, because they are really a force for change, we have hope that things may get better. They may not get better for Jordan in the short term. They probably won't. We need a cure on the horizon for that to happen. But they will get better in the long term.
There are advances in research now that we couldn't even think of a few years ago. There's an understanding now that people develop Alzheimer's disease perhaps 10, 20 years before the symptoms develop. So there is hope that we have now that we couldn't identify before, and lends to the reason why advancing research is so critically important.
We know that while our current situation can't be changed, we can change things for the better for the future. And that could be making things easier for people who are going to be getting diagnosed. It could mean making things better for our family if they happen to deal with this illness. We think in the long term, and so does the Alzheimer's Association. And without a partner like that, we wouldn't have hope for the future that we have today.